Welcome to your village council meeting. I'm Pastor Matt from Holy Cross Lutheran Church right here in the village of Oxford. The council's asked me to pray, and so I will. One quick thing before I pray, though. My three kids and I walked and biked to the council meeting tonight, and I think it's a blessing that we have in the village of Oxford walkable, travelable, safe spaces for kids and families to get around. So it's a real blessing that we're here and that we're able to all gather together.
Amen.
I'll open us up in prayer. Lord God, Heavenly Father, I give you abundant thanks tonight that you have gathered together like-minded people for the betterment of your community that you've established here in Oxford. I give you thanks that through Jesus we have all of our eternal sins forgiven, that you've given us grace and mercy. You've given us peace of mind because of the work of your Son. I pray that in the work that we have to do this evening and the work that the council men and women and village manager have to do, that wise minds would always prevail as we work together for the better of all people. These things we pray through the Holy Spirit in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you guys. God bless.
Very nice.
Thank you.
Thanks, neighbor.
Yeah, right.
Okay, I'll call the meeting to order and let's do the Pledge of Allegiance and have a moment of silence, please. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you. Joe, do you want to do roll call,
Certainly.
please?
Councilmember Bema.
Yes.
Council President Basardi.
Yes.
She said.
Councilmember Dolan.
Present.
Councilmember Helmuth.
Here.
Councilmember Kennis. Yes.
Okay, approval of the agenda. I have a couple things that I'd like to change. Under 7B, number 2, boards and commissions, I would like to change the interview and appointments to the Planning Commission up under, would be the second presentation. And the other thing under 9C, planning service and fees and escrow accounts, put that under, would be 8B. And if there's no other changes, entertain a motion.
Go ahead.
I would make a motion to open the meeting at 6:34.
No approval of the
I'll make
agenda.
a motion to approve the agenda.
Okay, we have a motion by Dolan, supported by Helmuth. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, presentations. We have first the business donations for police body cameras.
I'd like to give quite a little intro on it that maybe some of you weren't aware. I've been heading the body cam project going on probably almost about a year and a half now. First struck my interest at the International Chiefs Conference back a year and a half ago with all the controversy going on in the police work nowadays, and certainly we have to say police officer's word isn't golden as it used to be. So I went to some different seminars and did a lot of reading on it, and I thought body cams would be beneficial for our police officers and the community as a whole. Just another avenue of facts you could gather during situations. Officer David Churchill, I gave him authority to go explore my project. I have to say, I want to give him commendation because he did an excellent job on it. There's certainly dozens of vendors out there that are into this industry right now. He broke it down to about 8. We had some test ones that came in, many months of testing of himself and my officers, and we came up with a Wolfcom vision, which was beneficial cost-wise, efficiency-wise for our agency. But as we all know, budget issues have always been an issue. So it's kind of been on my wish list for a number of months. We looked at some grants. They kind of fell through. It was for larger agencies. In fact, I had a sponsor here at the beginning of the year that kind of fell through the cracks. And I told Dave, well, we're going to have to put this on hold again. But Dave went out, and whatever he did, I got a call from one of our businessmen who's going to be here this evening, Mr. Jim Carlisle, CamLogic. Called me up a few weeks ago and says, hey, Chief, I think I'd like to fund your project. And I was taken back, overwhelmed. And Jim, along with some other business people of our community, has been gracious enough to fund my project. So, Jim Carlisle, would you like to come up? And
Yeah, hi, as Mike mentioned, I'm Jim Carlisle, owner and president of CamLogic. Been in Oxford now for, Joe, almost 20 years, something like that. And we're now at our third location, we just relocated to Glassby. And obviously, the Oxford Village Police Department has provided invaluable service and support and protection for us as citizens of Oxford, as well as our business here located in Oxford. Obviously, for us to fund this on our own, I felt was a bit of a challenge, so I approached several of the business owners, some are here tonight, to help with the funding, and we all decided to share in donating necessary funds to provide the Oxford Village Police Department with this very valuable technology. I mean, I think it's invaluable. It provides a great deal of benefits to the police departments. I did a bit of research on it myself, the various options and some of the benefits that some other communities have seen. Obviously, body cams protect against false allegations, misconduct or abuse against officers, increased transparency and accountability. Video footage captured can help speed up court proceedings and cut costs. It's improved evidence and collection in accident scenes. Recognize misconduct or conduct of police officers for training purposes. They've seen in some communities reduction of force by police officers by as much as 60%, and a decrease in citizen complaints against law enforcement by as much as 88%. So I think this is just a very valuable technology. With technology being what it is today, we should all leverage and take advantage of it. And for the minimal cost, we've got 5 business owners that have contributed equal amounts to this technology and funding the whole thing. And in fact, they also have an initiative to try and get some radar speed limit signs for the to put in front of the schools locally. And I would like to have helped with that. We did help with some of it. We got an additional funding of about $800 above and beyond the body cams to contribute towards one of those signs that they'll move to different locations.
I see.
I've got copies of information on the technology that Dave Churchill researched and selected, and I've got copies here if anybody would like that. And I also have information on the signs as well. And anyone else, I welcome anyone to help with the funding of these signs, because obviously keeping the speeds down, and I think they're very effective. It's very effective keeping people, getting people to slow down in the school zones where our kids are. So with that, I have checks here from several business owners on Glassby. Mike Vaughn from Vaughn Sports was unable to attend. He's out of the country at the time. Bill and Teresa Stanisic from Stanisic Design and Manufacturing. He's a new neighbor of mine and new to Glassby Street as well. We've got Jeff from TKMS Trucking. Brian Russell from Dry Coolers, who is also out of the country and unable to attend. Bobby from Acorn Stamping, and obviously myself and my wife from CamLogic. So with that, I have some checks here to present to you, Mike, for that. And as I said, there's an additional $800 in there.
Yeah, it surprised me with that design. I appreciate that. Gentlemen, just really appreciate that. Certainly, budget issues are still going on with my agency, and this helps me immensely. This is going to give us, just for your information, 6 body-worn cameras, docking station, take care of the software license. We got night vision and particular lenses and software. You got to pay software that goes into the computer for this. And so it's going to interact also now with our in-car cameras. That'll be all in one computer situation. So, again, gentlemen, I certainly appreciate it. I think the village appreciates everything else, and we continue to keep this community safe through your great efforts yourself. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Dave, will you kind of just stand up and wave your hand? Thank you for all your research that you've done.
Dave Bailey.
One sentence?
There's another presentation.
Yeah.
We're not,
I want to respond to the presentation.
Can you wait until public comment, Dave?
Then have some people be out of the room. One sentence.
All right.
Okay. I think this is great. And my comment is all relating to the cost, regardless of who provides the money, regardless of that. All it takes is one controversial incident to occur, and this program could very easily pay for itself just on one controversial incident.
Thank you. Okay, the next thing we have is the interviews and appointments to the Planning Commission. And Joe, do you have?
Yes, it's Gary Douglas and Adam Johnson.
Okay. Who wants to go first? Just kind of give us a thumbnail sketch of you and why you want to do this.
My name's Adam Johnson. I've lived in the village for about 6 years now on South Glassby. I've lived in numerous parts of the United States. I've come to call Oxford my home, and I want to be a part of it. I want to help make decisions to grow it in the future. That's the primary driver on why I want to participate in the planning committee.
Okay. Anybody have any questions or?
Really? Was that a question?
What's your background?
I have a bachelor's and master's in aerospace engineering.
Well, is it relevant? Business.
Sure. Automotive engineer, technical specialist with General Motors. Do project planning, develop projects, mostly computer simulations.
So you've been involved with economics and programs?
I'm going to be participating in my MBA this fall.
You can have my job.
You just won me, so.
Sorry?
You just won me.
Okay.
Anybody else have anything?
Yes, Mr. Johnson, I understand you live on Glassby Street. Obviously, 98 South Glassby Street has been a touchstone topic as of late. Has this prompted, or has that situation prompted your interest? And do you feel that there would be any conflict of interest in your participation while that project is ongoing?
That has not driven my decision to participate in the planning committee. There would be no conflict of interest. I've been wanting to participate in the community on some board for the past probably 4 years now, and finally I had the opportunity to apply.
What is it specifically that you think you can bring to the table to the Planning Commission?
I would like to bring this towards developing a better community and industry relationship. Not necessarily one-sided, but hopefully develop solutions. I know there's a lot of industry in the community, and that's what drives the community as well. But we also have individuals living in the community, and we have to find some sort of compromise and true win-win situation.
Excuse me.
I'm sorry, I don't know if I answered your question.
You did.
Okay.
Mine is kind of along Eric's question, but mine is more a statement that I usually say to all the people that apply for any of the boards or commissions, is that when you sit up on a board or commission, that you're making decisions for the entire community, and just so you recognize that.
Absolutely.
Okay. I don't have anything else.
I guess one last thing in regards to your time commitment. Do you have the available and necessary time to participate? I understand these things are relatively voluntary, but you'd be shocked at how much time is frankly involved.
Right.
No, I work a standard job. Evenings are my own, so as long as there's nothing at like 1 o'clock in the afternoon, I'm typically okay.
Okay.
No, there isn't. There are two Tuesdays a month from 7 to whatever.
Not a problem.
Okay. All right.
I have one more.
Okay.
So you were not prompted by anything on any of Class B at all?
No. I honestly don't know the status of that even.
That's good. It kind of makes me happy. Why did you even come in, for this opportunity? And, what made you want to do this?
Like I said, I've been looking for an opportunity to participate in the village, and I want to make the village better. I live here, I own a home here, I foresee growing my children here.
But nothing just said you had to do this.
No. No, it's personal choice.
That's even better. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
Sorry, I'm adding you to it.
Someone had to do it.
There you go. I appreciate you, buddy. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Gary Douglas. I'm a village resident. My wife and I purchased our home in Park Street a little more than 6 years ago. I am a mechanical engineer. I have experience in serving on a board of directors. For instance, I served on the board of directors of the Entrenosa Water Cooperative, which was a rural water co-op in New Mexico, where I'm recently relocated from, for a little over 10 years, and managed extensive growth through that community on the water board for, well, from 1992 until almost 2005. And so I've got a good experience in working with regional planning, regional development, and well, we grew the water system gigantically from a little over 1,800 members to almost 1,900 members, or 9,800 members, I apologize, over that 12-year period. So I've got experience in that. I bring a technical background. Just like Adam, I believe in giving back to my community and being a part and an active member in my community. I have the time to serve, I have the desire and passion to serve, and it's a value that was taught to me by my parents, where you give back to your community. And when I found that there was a vacancy on the board, I stepped forward. I'm familiar with John Duvall, and when I heard he needed help, I stepped forward.
Does anybody have any questions?
I believe mine have been answered through your follow-up in response to previous questions.
I appreciate it. Thanks very much for the opportunity. I appreciate it.
Thank you for volunteering.
My pleasure.
So,
Tom, did you have anything?
no, I'm just talking.
Okay.
No, it's a great that you volunteered, both of you guys. It's definitely a job. And
Sure.
It's not a,
Yeah, I don't expect it to be anything but I think we're both very,
I appreciate it.
of course, thank you very much. I think we're both very honored to serve.
Mo?
I just want to say that the Planning Commission interviewed both of these gentlemen, as well as two others. All four were immensely qualified. Unfortunately, the other two did have conflicts, but You know, we're now running Aeronautical Space Engineering Station apparently, because we have very highly qualified, very well-educated applicants, and we were very pleased. And I'd like to recommend them both to the Village Council.
Thank you.
Okay. Do you want to go? Eric, do you want to make a motion?
Sure. With that stated, I would move to appoint Gary Douglas to the Planning Commission as recommended for the term ending September 2019. And I would also make a motion in a move to appoint Adam Johnson to the Planning Commission as recommended, also for the term ending September 2018.
Support.
Okay, we have a motion by Dolan, supported by Helmuth. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, congratulations, gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
Thank you and welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you both very much.
Okay, we don't have any public hearings. Call to the public on non-agenda items. Bill?
First off, I've always said that between the township and the village, we've got the best corporate neighbors we could ever have. You know, they always step up, whether it's McDonald's, Levy, these individuals here. I want to thank you on behalf of the village residents who these fine people serve. Secondly, I'd like to welcome our two new Planning Commission members, very highly qualified. The only thing, I appoint Planning Commission members at the Township Board level, and the main thing that I ask them is to have common sense. You know, you could have PhDs, you could be rocket engineers, you could be anything, but if you don't have common sense on a vision, you know, for the future, you're really no good to us. So I want to thank you guys, and we just keep common sense at the forefront. The last thing I want to talk about is the Regional Transit Authority, or I'm going to call it the Regional Taxing Authority. Would like to get in our pockets for $4.5 billion to bring rapid transit to Oxford. I don't think that's ever going to happen. You know, we're no Lansing or Ann Arbor or wherever. We're never going to see this. So far, or what they expect to take out every household is $100 a year. That doesn't sound like a lot, but when you add in the NOTA millage, which is for our public transportation, all the other millages, whether it's the township or the village, it starts adding up, and it's especially when we don't get any benefit. You know, it's like the federal government telling us, you know, we got to build a water treatment plant for some some stupid reason, and give us no funding. It's just very taxing. So far, the Village of Leonard, Addison Township, Oxford Township, hopefully you, as a village, will join us with a resolution. I have with me some sample resolutions. Can I turn that over to Joe?
We have a drafted already, Bill.
Oh, do you?
Yes.
I hope you would join us in at least showing our displeasure. I don't think it's going to do much good. I think we're going to be outvoted, but hopefully we do turn it down. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dunn.
Resolution's on the Addison agenda, I think, for the Monday night. We have a similar one drafted already
Okay.
for your next meeting.
Okay. I at one time had gone online because I saw that they were having meetings in different communities to explain the whole thing. And I asked Joe, did you ever get anybody to want to come out here and explain why they want to collect money and not going to give us any services?
I didn't get back with specific time, but I will follow up with him,
Okay.
have him come out here.
What I handed over was an article from the Free Press.
Right.
With the 1st of June, but also the Oxford Leader had a very good article on it, explained it pretty much in depth, and what effect it would have on our community.
Right. And it's my understanding that there's no way that we're ever going to realize any service out of that for our area at all. It'll just be money.
We have a much better service with our local government.
We do.
We'll pretty much take care of people that are not allowed to get out or can't get out on their own.
Right,
We have more concerns.
yeah. Anybody else?
I would argue that there's no benefit to us, simply because we all pay gas tax, we all pay to improve roads, and this would take fewer cars off the roads if the people are using the mass transit. I'm not sure this is our place to even pass this resolution, but I'll wait till I read it.
Okay.
Or to even consider the resolution.
Okay. Move on. Consent agenda. 7A, receive and file items, correspondence, letters, reports, minutes.
I'd like to point out that the water report from last month, April, had the 2 corrected pages are included, and we also received the May report, which has the correct forms in them as well.
Okay.
If there's no questions, I'll make a motion to receive and file the consent agenda. Item is A.
Final item.
I'll second.
I found an error in one of the documents.
Why don't you get with Joe about that, Dave?
Okay.
Thank you.
It's something I said myself, so I'm absolutely sure it was an error.
Okay, thank you.
So supported.
Was there a second on that? Tom?
Rose supported.
Oh. Okay, we have a motion by Helma, supported by Mema. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. 7B, we have approval items. And whoever makes the motion, please put in the bill amount.
Do we need to include the special assessment amount? Or no?
You can.
I
It's
think
included in the
probably it should be.
resolution.
It's a delinquent account.
Yeah, the delinquent accounts. Joe, on the back of our list of things that's set aside in that, I would like to add on the mowing charges. We need to have some discussion about that.
If there's no other questions, I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda items B, including the bills in the amount of $435,677.75, and the special assessments for the tax bills of $3,860.28.
Second. Okay, we have a motion by Helma, supported by Bema. Joe, do you want to do a roll call, please?
Bema.
Yes.
Fasardi.
Yes.
Dolan.
Yes.
Helmuth.
Yes.
Kennis.
Okay, next thing, unfinished business. A, inspection services and planning services, McKenna. And I think you handed out something this after tonight, Joe?
That's for this next item.
Oh, okay. Hey, John.
Hi, thank you for having us on the agenda tonight. As you know, we've submitted a revised proposal for the building department services, reducing the percentage of our fees from 75 to 70. We've also worked with Joe with respect to putting together the fee schedule to the point where, we believe the fees are appropriate and will cover the cost of the village to provide the building department services in-house. Ken LaBelle is the building official that's been assigned here, and he's been already working here for a number of weeks. And I've been up there and met with him and the staff, and I believe we're headed in a better direction. I think our philosophy is that, we want to be business friendly, obviously. That's an important aspect of this service, but we also need to make sure we're doing things right. And we know that there's usually a certain tension between zoning and building regulations with economic development. We see that everywhere we go. Every community's got that inherent tension between economic development, which wants everything to occur right now, minimizing obstacles, minimizing timeframes, and things like that. But we also know the importance of regulating, following the regulations and making sure that we're being fair and that sort of thing. So we're trying to set up a meeting for this Thursday to come up and talk about the forms. All the forms have been prepared. They're fillable. They're ready to go online. We think that'll help facilitate the process. Again, I think Ken's already established a good relationship with the office staff. When I mean a good relationship, I mean sort of one where they're comfortable reaching out to Ken on a regular basis to make sure that they're following proper protocol. Ken has been doing this for a long time, probably over 40 years. And so he brings with him a lot of patience. He's good as far as that goes in terms of sort of informing both staff as well as applicants why things are the way they are, why they have to follow certain procedures, why they need to take extra steps in order to get things right. So I think he's a good person for the Village of Oxford in terms of accomplishing that. So again, I think we're back on the right track, and as I mentioned, we're going to meet on Thursday and keep everything moving forward. Also, I know in the past we talked about a number of projects that sort of got off track. From what I understand, talking to Ken, those projects are back on track. Permits have been issued for a number of those projects, and he's keeping tabs on those to make sure they don't get off track again. I'm sure there were some ruffled feathers in the process, but again, I think Ken's demeanor, his approach has been positive in terms of keeping things on the right track. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
I think you know what we want done. Are you prepared to do that?
Yes, we are.
Do you see any current hangups or glitches that still need to be resolved at this point? Anything that we should anticipate?
Not that I'm aware of. If I find out anything on Thursday when I come up here and meet with Ken and staff, I'll definitely let you know. We'll keep you posted. Yep.
I just participated in a meeting with Ken, and I really like the way he handles himself at the meeting, and I think his focus is on the same thing that our focus is on. So I was very pleased with that.
Good, I'm glad to hear it.
So give him that raise.
All right, can we have a raise then?
Let me write you a check.
All right.
If there are no additional questions, I would move to approve the proposed building department services proposal from McKenna Associates with option number 2 at $1,000 per month and authorize the village manager to sign the contract, subject to review by the village attorney.
Support.
Okay, we have a motion.
If I could ask, I forgot, should we say up to $1,000 a month? Because it's going to be less than the inspections he's done.
it's not exactly.
So if you could add the word up to in there, please.
I would then amend that motion to include up to $1,000 per month.
Very good.
Did you amend your support?
I amend my support.
Thank you.
Okay, we have a motion by Dolan, supported by Kennis. Joe, do you want to do a roll call, please?
Sarda?
Yes.
Dolan?
Yes.
Helmuth?
Yes.
Kennis?
Yes.
Bainma?
Yes. Okay. And planning services and fees and escrow accounts. I don't know which one of you want to start on that.
Well, I can just start, and Joe, you can add on here. But
Okay.
when we were looking at the forms and applications, there were a number of formulas in those fees in the fee schedule based on the number of acres of a project or based on the number of units of a project. And in order to simplify it, make it more user-friendly, we got rid of those formulas, so it's easier for applicants to pick up the material, look at it, and know right off the bat how much they're going to have to pay. It's a small thing, it's not a big change, but again, it's just a way to be more business-friendly and more user-friendly. So we basically modified our fee schedule with the village to take out those formulas as well. You can see we increased the base amounts, and that's basically in an effort to try to wash, it should be a wash in terms of the total cost, but again, all those costs are passed on it, and so it doesn't really affect the village's bottom line.
Okay. And Joe, do you want to address the escrow accounts?
Yes, what we've established and proposing you to consider this evening is that we would have an upfront amount that would include the appropriate fee for McKenna, the engineer, the police, DPW, fire, the attorney, where appropriate, and an application fee, and a contingency escrow account should there need to be a second review. And those dollar amounts would then, at the far right hand, would be the amount they would pay at the time they apply. And then we would charge against that expenses as they came through from the consultants and fees. And if there was a balance left over after it was approved, they would be refunded. If there was more needed, we would, ask to bill them and have them paid before we would proceed with the approvals. So we're asking for that fee up front. And as John pointed out, there's a flat fee for McKenna, so there's not any issue about number of units or acres, which will help immensely. And so we've established these rates depending on the magnitude and size of each project. For planning and zoning, including a special use or planned unit, any of the planning and zoning service will be covered by these initial amounts and administered through the BSNA system as well.
And then if there's money left over, then it's refunded to the customer. And have you figured in a reinspection in those fees?
That's the contingency that John and McKenna recommended.
And as Joe pointed out, if it's a protracted process, then you can ask the applicant to replenish the escrow.
Right.
And this is common operating procedure for a lot of communities, so that they don't have to go chasing the money.
Right.
You don't want that. And that ends up taking more of a toll on your relationship and your reputation in terms of pro-business than getting the money up front and just having a clear-cut process.
Okay. Is there any other questions?
I'm just wondering how you came up with these really odd numbers for escrow money. I mean, again, I'm big on round numbers. $888, $716. I don't know why we're doing such odd numbers.
Oh, instead of making an even 50 or 100 or something?
Yeah, but that's just me.
Well, they were a combination of
the engineering.
input, right, engineering, and then a added on percentage, and some of them didn't hit the exact
We
amount.
could round it up to the next $100 if you want to make it simpler.
It would be easier on bookkeeping, I think.
Yeah, that's fine. We can amend these so it'd be 1,100, 1,500, 1,800, 2,300.
Yeah.
It's all right.
We can round it up.
And then, did the fire department, these are the same fees we've been charging in our current one? Or have they been notified of this change, if there's a change?
Yeah, we can verify them with the chief. And we put an allowance in here for those fees depending on the magnitude of the project.
And I'm just wondering who the check is made out to. Will the village be collecting the money and then writing a separate check to the fire department?
On planning and zoning, that's normally how we handle it, right, Pete?
That's-
Or not? You'd rather bill it separately? I know inspections we
Zoning so far, nothing's been collected, and I was going to ask you when I was going to get paid for the bill that was submitted like 3 months ago. It has not been taken care of for 98 Glaspie in South Washington. So
It
that
has
part,
not been paid for yet?
no.
We have not been.
Per your ordinance, it specifically states in your the zoning ordinance under site plan approval that you're supposed to be collecting those fees and then reimbursing me for them. States it right in the ordinance.
The village has not been paid by the applicant, and that's why this new system will have them paid out front.
But I think the question is, are these the right fees?
Well, and then do you want them payment made to you directly for the zoning part?
What's been done?
If it's in the ordinance that you're supposed to be collecting them, then obviously the money would come to the village and the village would reimburse the fire department for them. Under the plan review fees, as far as for suppression systems, hood systems, and alarm systems, it's usually been on the forms that there was the $25 review fee payable to the fire department. It usually says that right on my reviews, and it also used to say that on the bottom of the forms, too.
That's for permits. Building permits.
As long as everybody's clear on what's supposed to happen.
Yes. Yeah, the check will come to the village, we will pay the fire department their appropriate fee.
Okay. Can you,
Once we collect it,
It'd be paid up front, though.
it has to be paid up front. And then we pay out of it as
but
the people do the work.
It hasn't been collected anyhow.
It's on a prior case.
Yeah, because of the new schedule hasn't been implemented yet.
Can we change those numbers right now so we can approve this tonight?
Sure.
Round them up to the next
Next 100.
Nice
100.
You just include
I would ask, as a professional organization, is it necessary to even round those numbers off? They're designed and scheduled for a specific purpose. I understand for the ease of accounting, that would be one thing, but in order to move things along, is there any benefit to not just accepting it as it is?
I don't have a problem either way.
It doesn't matter to us.
It's, I think that the computer is way smarter than we are and can figure
The
out.
numbers were
what our
calculated
numbers-
with
Well, then
some
that's what
degree
we
of
should stay with.
Specificity?
Yeah.
And
And allow.
I would suggest that with that specificity in mind, as an organization capable of handling our accounting, we're in our best interest to approve the resolution as suggested. With that stated, I would move to approve the planning and zoning fees and escrow schedule as presented to be effective July 1st, 2016.
Support.
Okay, we have a motion by Dolan, supported by Kennis. Joe, do you want to do a roll call, please?
Dolan,
Yes.
Helmuth,
Yes.
Kennis,
Yes.
Bama,
Yes.
Basarda.
Yes? Okay,
I would.
thank you, John.
Also,
No, thank you.
if you and also approve their contract.
Oh, yeah.
The second motion.
Oh,
I move to approve a one-year contract with McKenna Associates as proposed, and to authorize the village manager to sign on behalf of the village, subject to review by the attorney.
second. Okay, we have a motion by Helmut, supported by Bava. Joe, do a roll call, please.
Helmuth,
Yes.
Kennis.
Yes.
Bama.
Yes.
Basarda.
Yes,
Dolan.
Yes.
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming out.
Hi, Ken. All right, John, we'll see you Thursday.
Okay, under new business, liability and property insurance proposals. Joe?
Yes, council, we have Stephen Staff here this evening, our representative, our agent who's handled our insurance for the past 6 years, is it, Steve? 5 years?
Since 2011.
So he is the only, well, we have two proposals, but the renewal with Stephen Staff is indicated here is $47,000, $48,266, which includes the bond. But maybe, Steve, if you want to just highlight the coverage, and then we did have some increases in our policy. As explained to me, that part was due to the low investment returns and our high amount of claims that we've had. So if you want to comment on that.
Good evening. My name is Stephen Saff Jr. I'm an independent insurance agent with Nickel and Saff Insurance. As Mr. Young reflected, our agency has represented the village since July of 2011. Coming out of a cycle here in which the village sought competitive proposals, we're pleased to be hopefully considered again for another year. The affording carrier is the Argonaut Insurance Group. They are providing your property, liability, law enforcement liability, public officials, employment-related practice, and automobile liability. Obviously, there's other ancillary coverages, but those are the primary ones that are packaged together for the benefit of the village. The liability limits are $10 million. The carrier this year has presented two options. One option at $47,086 for the annual premium expense. The second is a reduction, $44,651. The difference between these two is one specific coverage. This coverage is known as non-monetary defense. Interrupt me or stop me if I ramble here, but insurance companies historically don't get involved with a liability claim unless somebody says they're making a claim for damages. They're looking for monetary recovery or monetary indemnification from an insured. Public entities are unique in that often you'll see a claim for injunctive relief. Someone will come to you and they won't ask for monetary damages, but they'll want you to stop doing something or start doing something. When they make those claims, an insurance company historically would have refused coverage because there was no demand for monetary damages. With this endorsement or enhancement, the industry says, okay, we'll reimburse your legal expenses or defense expenses if it would have been covered had a claim for monetary damages been included. During the period of time that we've insured the village, we've had 2 claims that have dealt with non-monetary coverage issues. The first proposal, the $47,000, retains the identical coverages, and that reflects a aggregate amount of $200,000 with a per occurrence or per claim amount of $50,000. For the reduction in premium, the carrier would go to a $50,000 aggregate with only a $10,000 amount in reimbursement for claims in the occurrence. Beyond that, everything else has remained the same. Historically, the village has refused terrorism coverage. Terrorism coverage, if you chose to secure that additional option under coverage option 1, would be an additional $797 or $782 under the second option. I refer you to page 2 of my proposal, the second paragraph. Terrorism, the federal act as created by our friends in Washington has been amended. When the act was first brought into existence, it was specific to foreign terrorist acts. The federal government had to define that whatever action had caused a claim or caused damages had to be the result of a foreign national or a foreign nation causing the event. Since then, as they'll do in Washington, they've amended this act, and now they've removed the distinction between foreign terrorism, so it is foreign and domestic. So if there was an event such as the Timothy McVeigh bombing in Oklahoma City at the Federal Bureau building, that is now accompanied or considered for coverage under the act now. As a consumer, as the purchaser of the insurance, if you don't have that coverage, the insurance company is not obligated to respond if a claim results or the claim is caused by a declared terrorist act. And it's a tax to the federal government. It's creating a backstop or a reserve for the insurance industry to dip into in case there's a catastrophic event that would have wide-ranging economic impact across the experience of a carrier or carriers.
Quick question.
Yes.
Pertaining to that, in your field, are active shooter situations being deemed domestic terrorist situations? Is there any definitive difference for coverage situations? Because that is obviously a much more likely scenario.
To my knowledge, with the exception of the tragedy in Orlando 2 nights ago, I don't believe we've had a declaration of a domestic terrorist act throughout the entire country in which this act would be triggered. And it's my understanding that you have to identify an organization, an organized body that has to have made a premeditated and organized effort to create the harm or the injury.
So for the policy concerns, your lone wolf type situations would not be covered, which predominantly
would be covered. Yeah, the lone wolf situation is going to be covered. Yes. Yeah. That does not fall under what have seen, and again, we haven't seen a declaration of one yet, but I've not seen it, say, in school situations that we've seen tragedies throughout the country, unfortunately, those incidents, if a liability claim occurs where a survivor comes back and says the school could have done something here and it did not, the insurance company is going to have some liability potentially because that is not declared, that lone wolf is not declared as a terrorist act. Again, it becomes more of a structure of finding intent, finding an organizational support.
A way to get out of paying the premium.
But for that purpose, I would think it would be difficult to label one person an organization, if not
Again, as I said, since the inception of the act after, and I think in 2012, we've not had one event.
Do you have an opinion on that?
What's the cost?
700?
780, it was 782 a year, correct?
Second page, second paragraph.
For the lower coverage, it's 797 for the higher.
Correct. $797 or 782.
All right. Well, I'm going to ask a question while everyone's lamenting.
Please.
What do you think of our coverage for the size of our village? And if you were me, what would you do? I'm not even talking about terrorism. I'm talking about how do you feel our coverage is?
You're asking me to speak about it from a whole list, from the entire package?
Not as a salesman.
Yeah.
I'm talking as if you were me.
Okay. You're looking at a program that has $10 million in liability coverage. That liability is afforded to you in towers. Consider it separate checkbooks. A $10 million checkbook for the general liability, the law enforcement liability, the public officials' employment practices. In my experience, municipal exposures are generated from two primary areas: law enforcement liability claims and sewer backup claims. When I look at claims experience and claims problems, we look at frequency and severity. How often something happens is a frequency issue. How big a claim is a severity issue. Law enforcement doesn't have very great frequency, but when it happens, it's a big severity issue. So from that standpoint, the $10 million is prudent. If you were contracting your services from the county or a neighboring community, I would be sitting here probably recommending a limit of $5 million. The sewer backup issue becomes a matter of frequency and also severity, depending upon the nature of an event. Although there are certain immunities under Act 222, and I understand there's legislation working through Lansing right now to strengthen or to clearly define those or better define those immunities, it's still a big portion of our industry. We're insuring your buildings. One thing that I've yet to talk to Joe about, but as hopefully we'll walk away here tonight with your confidence for renewal, I'm probably going to contract with a third-party property appraiser to come out and look at the buildings and assure that we're looking at appropriate replacement values. And normally I wouldn't be concerned about that with traditional buildings like offices and administrative buildings such as this, but with water and sewer and things of that nature, that gets beyond my scope. So we bring in an individual to do that. Your vehicles are insured. You do not incur any deductible expense for your liability claims. It's first dollar coverage. We have inverse condemn.
Wait. Why is that?
Why is that? From a historic standpoint, when we first took the account, you have a $1,000 deductible on property. You have a $250 deductible on vehicle physical damage, and you do not have any liability deductibles. The answer to that would probably be historic. When we first wrote the account on a competitive basis, we were quoting apples to apples, and we've retained that throughout.
So basically, we have to look back and see our claims and what the benefits are for going higher deductible.
Let's talk about one line of coverage, for example. Your public officials premium out of the 40-some thousand is $3,264. Now, if I ask for a $1,000 or $2,500 deductible, the impact on that $3,264 is going to be pretty negligible. So
That's not on vehicles, that's on public officials.
Correct. Your vehicles, you do have a deductible of $250 already. But my point is, you incur one claim and you incur out-of-pocket expenses of $1,000 or $2,500, where historically you didn't. The savings in premium is not going to. Okay.
I really get this.
Good. Okay.
So you don't have to go any further.
All right.
Council, the coverage that he discussed for non-economic, non-monetary claims, your lawsuit with TKMS sought to enjoin your enforcement of the ordinance, and working with the adjusters from Argo, we were able to get you coverage under that provision for non-monetary claims, and your defense was paid for on the TKMS lawsuit. And the adjustment company, I would tell you, sir, is very easy to work with.
Thank you.
Two things. First of all, I am not fighting about you being our insurance holder. I have some questions. But my other question is, I said I had two. If we approve this, can we change this?
Oh, absolutely.
Just like any insurance policy, we can go boom, change it, and then we get retroactive, you send me money back, it's with my vote.
Well, the date of the change, yeah. This is not a pool arrangement. You're not entering into an agreement that fixes you for a term of 1 year. This is a policy from a traditional stock insurance company, just similar to if you own a business or you buy for your home or your personal coverages. If you came to me tomorrow and said, somebody came in with a much better deal and we're going to cancel, we would cancel the coverage and prorate it. If you decided you want to increase the deductibles, yeah.
So if Mo and I leave the board, our insurance would go down dramatically, right?
We cover you even after you've left, so.
Thank you. I'm sorry to tease you so much.
No,
That's all I need to know.
Keep it up, it'll cost you a cup of coffee.
How much?
Well, I know that Joe has done his due diligence on this, and there's a lot of discussion that has to be gone over outside of council. But I would like to, without having it in front of me, I have to really read this?
Yes, you do.
I move to approve the proposed $10 million liability and property insurance contract coverage with Nickel and Saff in an amount not to exceed $48,266, and authorize the village manager to sign the contract on behalf of the village, subject to review by village attorney and approval of a budget amendment of $3,312 from the general fund contingency.
Support.
I'm not done. To insurance account 101-865-910.000.
And I would still support.
Okay, we have a motion by Kennis, supported by Dolan. Joe, do you want to do a roll call, please?
Helmuth?
Yes.
Kennis?
Yes.
Bema?
Yes.
Casarda?
Yes.
Dolan?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you very much.
thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Okay, next we have Water Residential Assistance Program Agreement.
Yes, Council, thanks very much, Steve. What you have before you is an agreement that's proposed by the Water residential assistance program under the Community Action Alliance program, whereby they assist those people who have difficulty paying their water bills. They put them on a controlled system where, as long as they make payments of the current bill, they will make payments on their past due bill of up to $1,000 annually per household. They have to make monthly payments. Into 6 months, they pay another amount, and then after a year, they will pay the balance of the $1,000, and they require the council to approve the agreement. And there's no cost to the village other than the fact that we getting payments from two different sources for the back amounts. And if the resident or the customer fails to meet their commitment, they have to wait 12 months before they could try to apply again. But hopefully this will be very successful to help those that have $1,000 or less back water bills, and then keep them current from there forward. So after 1 year, hopefully they'll be continuously current on all their back amounts paid.
And again, there is no cost to the village. I would move to approve the memorandum of agreement with Community Action Alliance Water Residual Assistance Program and authorize the village manager to sign the agreement on behalf of the village, subject to review by the village attorney.
Second.
This is a type of program you guys asked her to look into during the review process.
Okay, we have a motion by Dolan, supported by Bama. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay. D, POLC and non-union pay rate increases effective July 1st, 2016.
Yes, council, what's presented for you this evening in consideration is in the budget we did adopt pay raise of 0.5% for the union, POC, the police union, and also for the non-union employees based on the increase of our taxable value. It's 0.5% for every full percent increase. Our taxable value went up 1.4%, therefore half of 1% is the 0.5%. We also did include here rate increases for the part-time police officers from going from $15 to $16 an hour. Again, it's in the budget. I also incorporated in this proposal the rolling in of the 2% and 1% for the clerk and public works superintendent. And for the manager, the adjustment of transferring my salary reduction of 5% to defined contribution by 5% increase, and then increase my health contribution to $150 a month. And there's attached a listing of the individuals and their current pay and what the proposed pay rates would be based on those recommendations as included in the adopted budget. And these, again, would be effective July 1st.
Can I speak?
Rose? Go ahead.
I'm obviously not against this, but there's so much work that we have to do. And if we're on the hook for a whole year, I have great difficulties with this. I don't think we've done enough. So I would vote for this. I think, however, I just want it to be known that the village manager has taken a salary reduction, but we're still contributing $150 a month. Everyone, wait. We've cut employees' costs. Our union is upset with us. And we just really have to make good decisions on this. I would vote for this because we have worked endless hours to get this going. But we can't just wait until next year's budget to have every one of these issues on the docket and have continuous discussion. So with that being said, what has happened every year, we have worked January, February, March, April, come up with the budget, and then summertime comes, and everyone goes on holiday. And then Thanksgiving and Christmas comes, everyone goes on a holiday. And then the budget comes up, and nothing happens after those first 4 months. And that is our fault. It's also because of daylight savings. But my point is, we've worked hard enough to get to this point. I will approve this, but I just want everyone to know that I'm not going to be happy, and we're not going to get together over the summer unless we force this issue, and I am done. That's it. So that's as good as I get.
Joe's thing is just a transfer out of his pocket, isn't it? It's not coming out of the village.
That 150
No
is mine.
increase to the in our budget, it's just coming out of his pocket over into the...
Correct. But did you, I think both Eric and I asked you to get an actuary report on that, saying that it was going to behoove us financially in order to do that?
You're talking
Did you
about-
do that?
Which item you're talking about?
You're moving money, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I think we had unanimity in regards to the wage increase for the police officers.
Right.
I think that's without contest. The only question that there had been was ensuring that your financial transfer was going to work out to be an even swap. We were looking for a actuarial report to make sure that the short-term costs or the short-term sacrifices matched essentially the long-term benefit.
Well, you're talking about my pension?
Correct.
My pension is a defined contribution.
Defined benefit.
No, mine is the defined contribution. It's a flat percent. There is no actuarial calculation.
So there is just
You
the
pay it
transfer
as you pay it and you're done.
Just goes.
Right. Okay.
So there's no actuarial, like a defined benefit, like the MERS program, that's different. Mine is not. Mine is you pay the percent, like right now you're paying 4.5. Just supposing you pay 9.5, you pay it and we're done. The
And I have been
liability of the
uncertain on
village-
that just because I've tried to receive contracts for a period of time and just received them, so I was not aware of that. With that stated, I have no disagreement whatsoever. I believe our police officers provide an invaluable service. We're reminded of that on a daily basis, and the pay increase is nominal for the service they provide.
Say our dispatchers also provide an incredible service and also deserve the raise. And on that note, I'll move to approve the wage increase adjustment for POLC employees and non-union employees as presented and authorize the village manager to implement the wage increases July 1st, 2016, as included in the budget.
Second.
Joe, did you have something you wanted
Yeah,
to say?
I just wanted to mention in regards to Councilmember Kennis's comment. Remember, we do have on our future item meetings the updated personnel policies and procedures, which does include increasing the employee contribution for both health care and pension costs. So that's ongoing and hopefully will be addressed on the next item, which is second special meetings. So, just wanted to comment.
Okay, we have a motion by Helmuth, supported by Bema. Joe, do you want to do a roll call, please?
Bema.
Yes.
Ms. Sargent?
Yes.
Dolan?
Yes.
Helmuth?
Yes.
Kennis?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, the next thing, the second council meetings. I asked Joe to put this on because I've been approached by some of the council members that we want to go back to, not necessarily having a second official council meeting every month, but to have the second meeting that used to be the fourth Tuesday, to have it be a special workshop because we need to wade through some of these issues that we've got listed as set aside on the back of our agenda, plus all the other things that are coming up that we still haven't gone through. So, that's why I asked them to put it on there, and if everybody's in agreement, then that's what we'll do.
So it would be a standing meeting time?
Well, if we wade through this, then I guess we wouldn't have to have it be a
Correct.
standing meeting.
But for now, it would be standing until you get through.
We need to get through some of these issues that
Good
we
idea.
have standing up there.
I would just like to comment, this has been something that's been important to me. There's a significant number of issues that are on the back burner and on the table. It seems as if with the infrequency of meetings, it's difficult to get through business. That's why we're here, to get through business. And I am a strong believer that our community requires that. I am absolutely in favor of doing such, and I would support that as well.
I think we'd all like to start knocking some of this stuff off the back.
Yeah.
And let's just get it done.
What
So,
format
do we
would
have-
these, you are labeling these as workshops, would they be posted or?
Yeah, but just like the one that we're having whenever.
study meeting.
A work study meeting.
So you wouldn't necessarily take votes then?
Mr. Attorney, don't you know that we're not allowed to talk more than one-on-one, sir? Otherwise, it's a forum.
Yes.
Do you want me to smack him for you, Bob, or do you want to do it yourself?
Just hit them. That's why I was asking the question. I just want to know what
study.
format. Are we going to be under the Open Meetings Act? Are we going to post it? We're going to do everything correctly?
Well, we won't be making decisions, is that right? The decisions
Is
will
it a
come?
meeting where there would be no action taken?
What's been discussed and what I would propose is that we have one monthly meeting for action and one monthly meeting as a work study so that we could reach consensus on issues, iron them out, and then vote on them at the
Just want
subsequent
to be
meeting.
able to help Joe with the agenda, that's all.
Yes, oh, definitely. Joe?
Clarification on, so for example, we're not looking to have one 2 weeks from now, but in July, we have one on the normal meeting on the 12th, and then on the 26th would be a special work study in July, and then August, there'd be the second,
Why
the
can't we
fourth.
have one in June?
I would propose
I don't
we
think
have
anybody
one-
could meet that date. I think there was a problem with the 28th. That's why we're meeting on the 29th for the training, for
We have a
the,
meeting on the 20th, the 29th.
and then there's one Monday already scheduled for a work study, and then there's one on the 29th already this month. So I just want to clarify that starting July, the fourth Tuesday, we'd have a work study session from July through the end of the year potentially. Is that for scheduling purposes and notice purposes?
I think due to the fact that we are talking about one on the 20th, that would be acceptable.
And then also one on the 29th.
You have a meeting on the 20th and the 29th.
29th, yeah.
So for July, it'd be the 4th, July, August, September, October, we just, so those are special work study sessions until we get through the list?
I think it's...
Well, at that rate, it'll take us a year to get through the list.
Well, no, not if you, however many items you want to put on
I
each
guess
agenda.
my own personal comment is when I signed on for this job, I signed up to do what was needed to be done for the village. That is attending all these meetings and getting this stuff ironed out and taken care of. I guess that's what I do. So it's up to the rest of you. It's no problem for me. I always have the second Tuesday on my thing, just like I always have the second meeting of the Planning Commission. It's just there. I don't plan anything on those dates.
So,
I'm good the 28th.
My family life revolves around those set meetings. If I don't have one, yippee-yay.
And if we have the appropriate time to post on the 28th, I am in favor of that as well.
There's time. You have time.
Is everybody going to be there on the 28th?
Is the 28th good?
Tom, will you be?
That's Wednesday.
I can call in from anywhere. 20th and 28th, done.
And 29th is the training.
You and I will pick the subjects.
Yeah, well, we could list all the items.
We're not going to do them all on the 20th.
No. Right, all right, so starting with June,
All right,
Okay.
what's the motion? I'll make a motion that we schedule work study sessions the
second Tuesday.
the fourth Tuesday of every month,
I'll
beginning
support.
in June.
Okay.
I'm sorry, who supported that?
I second it.
Okay, we have a motion by Sardet, supported by Bema. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Just a question, those would be at 5 or 6:30?
What time?
Sorry.
Now,
Regular time.
I'd like to do 6:30.
5 a.m.
6:30 then? Very good.
Regular meeting.
I'm good with 5. You know, they're going to be informal. They're nothing,
I know, but
their work
In
study
order to ensure
programs.
that I can be there, it would have to be at 6:30 if it turned out to be one of my
6:30.
other employment days.
just make regular meeting time then.
6:30.
All right.
Great.
Okay, we didn't have any items removed. Public comment?
I thought you left.
Hi, I'm Dave Bailey, and I live in the village. I was going to make a kind of a progress report, but it's going to have to be more of a kickoff report, because I can't report any progress. But I've been increasingly aware of the number of people I know in our community who have special needs. And some of them express from time to time a wish that the governmental bodies would be more aware of people with special needs. And it's been difficult for me to gather the information that I'd like to gather, because a lot of these people are not very communicative, not very articulate. And there's two reasons for that, as far as I can see. One is some of them have a specific communication issue. And the second one is a lot of them have very little knowledge. They don't know whether they live inside or outside the village, just as a random example. But what I'm going to do is to try to keep a little notebook in my pocket, take notes when I'm talking with people like people who have concerns about whatever the concerns might be. I hope I'll be able to, next time I talk to you about this topic, I hope I'll be able to give you something specific about what people out there are thinking, what their perceptions are.
Thank you. Anybody else? Managers report?
Just two quick things. One thing I forgot to mention earlier on the agenda, but if you may have noticed, the village offices starting July 1 will be closed on Friday, so just open Monday to Thursday, starting July 1. The other thing is, this Thursday we start concerts in the park at 6 o'clock at the open mic. There's a farmer's market that starts at 4 o'clock to 9 o'clock, and then the concerts from 7 to 9. That's it.
I know that Susan is not here tonight, not that I'm going to give her a report, but she's not here tonight because she was invited to teach Clerking 101 in Lansing. This is the fourth time that she's been asked to do that, so I think it's kudos to us for having somebody that Lansing wants to come and teach classes. So
Definitely.
that's my thing for that. Council comments? Tom?
As usual, I want to thank the council. Everyone has no idea these silly meetings in front of the public is 1/10 of the time that it takes going through all of the agenda and all of the issues that are going on. This is the most aggressive council, and we are definitely going to make changes in this village. And I think the entire council is on board with, all right, maybe 20% of what I'm thinking, but that's more than it ever has been. And we need to do it to keep this village financially stable and just make sure that if we really want a village, we have to protect it, and the only way to protect it is financially. Done.
Mo?
Nothing.
Rose?
Nothing.
Eric?
I would like to express my concurrence with Tom. I think since I've been involved, there's been a shift in momentum. I am of the belief that simply operating is not acceptable. We have approximately 3,500 tax-paying residents that this village owes a significant debt to. This village exists because of the taxpayers. I believe that in the coming months, there's going to be a shift of momentum, and what I would like to see is a reinvestment in the actual taxpayer. I think through the measures of cost cutting and particularly restructuring certain things, it's important for this council to reinvest in the individuals that have invested in this community. I would like to see an increase in the number of services that this community provides through hard work amongst council members, work study meetings, and problem solving and troubleshooting type methodology. Also, with that said, Chief Niemanowski mentioned something in regards to his police department and that there is some uncertainty, and I would like to bring that to the forefront. There is some uncertainty, and I would like to say with that, there are some issues that are being visited and revisited and analyzed. However, with that stated, the chief does a phenomenal job with his organization. His police officers and his dispatchers, as has already been pointed out, do an excellent job. There are certain times in which situations must change, and we are evaluating that as an organization. With that said, from me personally at least, this police department, without doubt, has 100% of my support. I would like to see our village and our council financially reinvest in the police department, and I would like to see us look into methodologies and financial ways by cutting costs in other areas to infuse a level of financial stability into the police department. I would like to look at increasing equipment, increasing training, and potentially increasing manpower. Obviously, none of these things are done overnight. There's a lot of work to be done before we can get to that point, but that, in my position, is my goal. This community is not safe without a strong police department. A police department is the cornerstone of all communities, along with the firefighting service that we have representing us tonight. In light of the current events, regardless of whether we call them a tragedy or an act of terror, there is no time in the history of our country that I think law enforcement services are more critical. And as a community, we must stand behind the law enforcement services. And that's all I have.
Well said.
I'm going to agree with both Tom and Eric, and then I'm going to reiterate Joe's thing that the office beginning July 1st is going to be closed on Fridays. We'll be open Monday through Thursday, 8 to 5. People that are wanting to pay their water bill, there's a drop box right out here on the out driveway that you can put your water bills in. I would imagine any other communication they could put in there because you go through the box too. I want to thank again Jim Carlisle and his group of business people who stepped up and made that donation to the police department. I think it's a phenomenal thing that our business people do things like that. And like Bill said, there's a lot of businesses in the township who step up and sponsor things and give donations. And I think that we've got a phenomenal group of people that are invested in the community. And I want to wish everybody a safe and happy 4th of July. And with that, we're not doing a closed session, correct?
Nope.
Okay. And then find the motion to...
Motion to adjourn.
Support.